Students, today we'll start a new chapter in English, Who Ate the Sun? The writer has very smartly used the question to make us curious to know the answer. What's the story about? Who had eaten the sun? How can the sun be eaten? Sun is not a fruit, sun is not a food item that can be feasted on. Why did he eat the sun? So let's start the story. This story is a myth. So what is a myth? A myth is a story that explains the origin of a cultural practice or natural phenomena. This word myth comes from the Greek word mythos. Mythos in Greek means a story or a speech. These are the stories that are very old and that has come to us from the beginning of human existence. These old stories try to give reasons for many extraordinary occurrences that cannot be explained or understood. These occurrences are sudden and violent in nature that cause great changes. So let's see what the story is. The myths are far older than the legends and folk tales and fables, as I told you, that has come to us from the beginning of the human existence. What a folk tale is. Folk tales are the stories that pass from one generation to the next generation, and whereas legends are the stories that narrate heroic deeds of the people. They may be true, they may not be true. Fables are the stories with animal characters such as Jataka tales. You might have read many Jataka tales. To explain all these awe-inspiring events, the people of the ancient time, they created the stories. Today, with the growing influence of rational and scientific knowledge, when we use the word myth, we often mean something that is not true, something made up to deceive others, something to cheat on others. But myths are perhaps necessary for the human spirit, as reality is too complex for the human being to grasp, to understand. So to make reality being very complex for early human being, for early men to understand, they made the stories which becomes myths. There are several myths which are popular, and they are most popular about the sun. The sun. Why the sun? Because the sun's movement has been seen from the earth is regular and dependable, and the people tend to take its regular journey through the sky for granted. So that's why most of the popular myths are about the sun, about the solar eclipse. What a solar eclipse occur? When do the solar eclipse occur? When the moon comes between the sun and the earth. It blocks our view of the sun, so we have a solar eclipse. But if someone does not know what a solar eclipse is, it natural for them to be frightened to see the sun being eaten up or bite by bite and right in the middle of a perfectly ordinary day? It's a bright day and there is no sun for some moments, and suddenly it comes back, chunk by chunk, small chunk, and it is shining over the world once more. How does it happen? So that's why they created some stories to satisfy their curiosities. In Chinese, the eclipse means to eat, and most myths about the solar eclipse are the stories of various creatures and demons devouring the sun in the sky. Devouring means something eating hurriedly, when you eat something hurriedly. The Vikings, they have their own story. They saw a pair of sky wolves chasing the sun and the moon, and there was an eclipse whenever one of the wolves caught a brighter orbit, means the sun. In the story from Vietnam, a frog or a toad eats the moon and the sun. The Koreans thought that the wild dogs chased the sun across the sky and ate it. The Indian story is very interesting. In our country, in India, the story is told about the demon Rahu, who disguised himself as a god in order to steal a taste of Amrit. Amrit is a nectar that grants immortality. So in order to be immortal, he disguised himself as a god so that he can steal the Amrit. When it was being churned out of the ocean, the sun and the moon saw that he was up to, and they reported it to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu got very angry, and he sliced off Rahul's head before the Amrit could slide down his throat. But what happened? As a result, the head turned immortal and the body died. The demon Rahu had continues to move through the sky chasing the sun and the moon in anger because they told Lord Vishnu about what he was going to. Every now and then he catches the sun and swallows them to cause an eclipse. But as he no throat, the sun or the moon fall out every time and the eclipse gets over. How interesting the story is. Even Chinese also believed that an invisible dragon ate up the sun, so they made a huge commotion to frighten away the dragon. They had drummers beating drums and archers shooting arrows in the sky. One of the Chinese emperor had no drummers. They were not ready. The archers were also not ready to tell that when the eclipse will occur. And because the royal astronomers Si and Ho had failed to predict an eclipse, the emperors were so angry that he ordered the two astronomers to be punished. They were hanged to death. The people of Japan also believe in such myths. On the other hand, they believe what? That poison dripped from the skies during an eclipse. So they took care keep all their wells covered. Even the things they do cover their things also. The Batambila people from Benin and Togo in West Africa also have a different but interesting belief about the eclipse. Their myth tells that the story of a fight between the sun and the moon during the eclipse. The people encourage the sun and moon to stop fighting. Yes, it is not good to fight. To this day, they see eclipse as a time of coming together and resolving their old feuds, old quarrels. Interestingly, there is a similar life story about an eclipse on 28th May 585 BC. The armies of the Lydians and the Medes had been at war for a long time when suddenly the day turned into night because of the eclipse. Because there was no sun in the sky, the day turned into night. The two armies were so stunned, they were so shocked and surprised because they could not understand what the phenomenon has been occurred there in the sky. They declared peace and fighting stopped at once. So this is the explanation of the whole story. Please read the story once more, and wherever you got stuck, find out the meaning of the difficult word in the dictionary. Enjoy it once more when you know all the meanings of the difficult words. Thank you.